Hey, discerning listeners, 90 Day Fiancé, the episode from this week. Let's watch.
Okay. She chose to ignore them.
I'm not the first person that cheats in the world, you know? And I admit that I did it, but it wasn't like for love. I mean, who would never cheat here?
Yikes. So there's nothing wrong with what he's saying, but in the absence of other things, it's alarming. You would hope that he would at least have somewhere sprinkled in there, I'm terribly, terribly ashamed of what I did. Because it wasn't like he just cheated one night while he was drunk. He had a full-on relationship and moved in with a woman. And she contacted Ellie and said, he's in love with me. We're in love. We live together now. So back off. It's not just like, oops, I don't know. Hey, I don't know what happened. I turned around, I tripped and boom, I'm in a long-term relationship where I'm in love with someone. I don't know how that happened. It's like, no, you made like literally thousands of decisions to head in that direction, which is fine that you fell in love, but you should say, hey, Ellie, I think we're done because I'm actually attracted to someone else now. So you would hope that in the midst of what he's saying here, it'd be like, I'm terribly sorry for what I did. I'm looking into why I did it. I have problems with this or that. I was scared because of the pandemic. I thought I would never see Ellie again. And yeah, I was stupid, something along those lines. Instead, he's just like, hey, people cheat. What are you going to do?
Do you trust him? I mean, the hesitation alone just kind of like worries me.
No, I'm just trying to think of I trust him, but I think that he has an anger issue sometimes. He's going to therapy and he's trying to deal with it.
Okay, so he's going to therapy. He has an anger problem and he's working on things. So maybe, let's see, well, what would be the situation here? I mean, Ellie obviously knows him a billion times better than we know him. So, and she seems pretty level-headed. So I'm going to take her word for it that he's worth a chance. He's worth giving a second chance. And I don't know. Sometimes in some relations, we tend to, and it's fine if you have this attitude that some people and you'll hear this, particularly from younger people, I'll say this, that if my partner ever cheats on me, it's over. And it's like, yeah, if you want to do that, that's for sure your call. And, case by case basis, every situation is different. But, cheating does happen, unfortunately. And particularly longer term relationships, the longer you're together, it raises the chance of something happening. And in our society, we tend to look at it as this high crime. And if you see it that way, then that's okay. I'm not saying cheating is okay. I'm just saying that the way that people, like when people come to me and they're going through infidelity recovery, they'll often say to me like, I didn't even, before, he cheated on me, before she cheated on me, if you would have asked me what I would do if they did cheat on me, I would have said, well, I would divorce, absolutely. But now that it's happened and I see that they're sad and remorseful about it and they want to get better, I'm willing to work on this. And a lot of my friends think I'm crazy, So we tend to have this attitude of like, it's all or nothing. And the reality is a lot of couples, not every couple, doesn't see it as a wonderful thing, but they recover, they rebuild. And the cheater does a lot of soul searching, perhaps in therapy, to have it not happen again, or to deal with the precursors that led them down that road. So I'm guessing that's where Ellie's coming from. It was just like, yeah, it's terrible that he cheated. It's terrible what happened. And yeah, he's still got some issues, and I'm not entirely trusting of him, because if I weren't around, I think he would just latch on to someone else that came around. But I am always around, so I just don't think anything's going to happen. I don't think he's like actively trying to cheat on me right now. I don't think he's that kind of person. I think we were apart and he was lonely and he didn't know what else to do. But I don't know if he really understands that yet. And so, he's working. So it's a more realistic, I think, approach, because the thing that I'll say is that if every relationship broke up because of infidelity, a lot of good relationships would be sacrificed.
But I also think he takes it out on me sometimes, and it's not fair.
Back in Providencia, the combination of trauma, high stakes, and
Having said all that, Victor could be a total D-bag and a lech and a horrible psychopathic human being. I don't know. And Ellie is completely in denial about that. There's that possibility too. We just really didn't get much data on this couple.
Lots of money either. So
Really? You want to add it up? It's quite a lot.
See, the only thing you want back is your money you sent to me. So I'm gonna give that back to you.
I never even
and then
said
it's over.
I wanted
I need
it
to live my
back.
life here.
wow.
Yeah, I watched that fight. I didn't react to it on YouTube, but my impression of the fight was, one, like 75% of it was intoxication. I mean, you get drunk and you start talking about some sensitive issues. I don't know. 2 times out of 5, you're going to have some ridiculous conversations. Some of the dumbest couples fights happen even on just a few drinks. So I was thinking that was kind of that. I also thought, they're under a lot of stress. I mean, just think of the amount of stress that they were going through. Particularly him, honestly, because she can go back home. But for him, he's like, my entire country is completely flattened by the hurricane and no one has anything. And our economy is completely destroyed. And our natural resources the trees are flattened. Nothing looks the same. All the houses are flattened. So, he was under a lot of stress. It doesn't justify him being a jerkface, but... And, I wonder if, and I was getting this, and I think I talked about this before, that with Victor, I think he just has like a super chill attitude towards life. He's just like, hey, whatever, and I think that kind of led him to cheat. I think he thinks like, I kind of saw this attitude in the Caribbean 90 Day Fiancé, what was it, Love in Paradise thing that I reacted to. It was on Discovery Plus. That some of these Caribbean folks, not all of them, but like that Key, the woman where was she? And was she in Panama? Anyway, she was just a super free spirit. She's just like, hey, whatever comes my way, then it's cool. And that can be a wonderful way to live. And I get the impression like Victor kind of might be that way. Like he's not a gold digger. He's not like, hey, give me money. He's like, hey, if you want to give me money, that'd be great. But if you don't, that'd also be fine. And so I thought that her saying, kind of digging into him about the money, I think that insulted him, made him feel lesser, and made him feel like maybe she was accusing him of something. Now, maybe it's true. Maybe he is a gold digger. Maybe he has been trying to extract money from her. But I don't know. They seem legitimately in love. And if you're in love and you're going to be together, it's just like, hey, if you got money, send it. If I lost my job or something and my wife had money, I'd be like, hey, I want to go to taco time. Can I have some money? I think that's okay. It's normal. It's, resource sharing in relationships. So, I felt like in that fight, and there were a couple other fights that they were in where I couldn't really tell what was happening. It seemed like it was not indicative of their ongoing relationship. It just seemed like the kind of fights you get into when you're really stressed. Like you're heading to the airport and you're dragging your 3 kids and you have like all the strollers and everything, and you and your partner, you get into a fight. That situation isn't as stressful as what they were going through. So I was just kind of attributing it to that.
For some reason, it triggers him, and I don't know why.
It makes me feel like very bad in a way that I can't get to contribute to this relationship economically as yet because I don't have it.
So in that argument that we saw, you were talking about.
Okay, so he's saying that when she brings up the money thing, it makes me feel ashamed of myself because I can't contribute yet. Okay, well, how about you just say that in the moment? Hey, honey, when you bring up money, I feel ashamed of myself and it hurts my feelings and then I get upset. But that's not what he said. What he said was to escalate and insult her. And I think there were some pretty bad words that were exchanged at the time.
Oh my God.
I mean, we get to the point now where we take that as a joke.
Like he does it all the time.
Ellie, does Victor have access to your credit cards?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Good for you.
Oh, no way.
So I've appreciated Hiromi as a Japanese-American sister here in Seattle. But I worry about what's happening right now because maybe Victor and her have a playful relationship. I could see that. But she seems to be really laying into Victor. And maybe she's totally right. But if you have a friend, Ellie, who is involved with someone you're like questioning, to really lay into that, assuming that they're going to break up, you're running the risk of, for the rest of your life with your friend Ellie, they're both going to know that you're against them. And that can put a strain on things. And so I'm not saying that you don't advocate, but you just have to be diplomatic about it.
They're going to make it?
I don't know. Sorry, Ellie, but Ellie's coming to me crying and upset, and they're both like going at it and not listening to each other.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that part. So if that's true, it sounds like there's a lot of conflict then. And Hiromi knows more about that, so that's concerning. The other thing is that if you're a Hiromi in the world and your Ellie friend is coming to you and only when she's upset at her partner, then you're going to have a very distorted view of the relationship. You're only going to have the negative side. And so you might have a distorted idea about the prognosis, and your view of Victor might be, distorted because all you know is the negative things.
I mean, obviously, I think he doesn't listen to me and he gets heated. And he probably thinks the same thing about me. So we need to figure out that. Why is that happening?
A lot of couples need to learn how to fight right.
Yeah, like
that's what we've done.
me.
We've learned how to fight in a good way.
Yeah, listen to Kenny and Armando. They figured something out. So it's interesting. So according to Kenny, it's like, we learned how to fight in a way that is good for us instead of destructive. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Oh my God, that was a lot. So how do you think it went?
It is what it is. I really didn't.
Oh boy. The other day, I was talking to someone and I said, well, it is what it is. And I stopped myself as I was saying that phrase because every time I hear that phrase on this show, it's never a good thing. Andre would say that all the time. Charlie would say that all the time. And now Victor's, Ellie's like, yeah, how do you think I go? What you'd hope Victor would say is like, well, God, we're talking about the cheating that I did in the past, and I just want to remind you that I'm so sorry that I did that. And it's just humiliating. It's just so hard to face that what I did to you. It's not what he says. Oh, it is what it is.
Like what Hiromi said. She making me feel like I'm the worstest guy for Ellie. I'm a cheater. I just keep saying I'm just gonna prove who I am, and that's it.
Okay, I could see that absolutely. I don't have any information to refute that. There's a possibility that he's like, no, I've turned a new leaf. I figured it out. I'm with Ellie now. We're together, and I'm not going to cheat on her. I could see that happening. All right, well, that is it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.